Welcome back to a new episode, guys. In this one we are looking at NIO, and we haven't looked at NIO for a significant amount of time, which is quite important because in the past month or so we can see a big decrease in price for NIO stock. Obviously we are touching highs in the past 30 days of around $64, which is quite significant, but unfortunately from there we are selling off all the way to the current point of around $43. Now over the past 6 months we have still seen a lot of attention with NIO. If you'd have bought this one back in September of 2020 and held until now, you would still be up a significant amount, but of course with the most recent dip in price coming today, you could be asking yourself, is NIO a buy now or should you avoid this stock? Well, of course I am not a financial advisor. I definitely recommend that you should do your own research, but in this one I'm giving all of my personal opinions. If you may enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we do talk about stocks every single day. Now that I've said that though, let's jump into this video. Right, so NIO in the past 2 weeks to the past month, well obviously we are seeing a big sell-off in the past week or so with a lot of stocks anyway, and I think that is something worth noting. But of course NIO has been dropping in price even since before then, from around this high point here on the 10th of February. Now of course in the past 6 months we have seen a lot of attention pour into NIO stock, and actually it hasn't gone away ever since. So of course we are touching highs of around the $60 range, which is very significant, but like I said, from there we are selling off. And of course this is quite significant, and one of the main reasons for this one more recently is of course due to the fact that NIO are looking at some lower than expected figures. Now of course looking at what we can see here, we are looking at fxstreet.com, and of course they're talking about NIO, but yeah, what they're trying to say is that NIO are looking at having worse than expected deliveries, and of course that is talking about in this piece here, where it says the company says it sees electric vehicle deliveries slowing down for the current quarter. Now of course some people may think this is important, and I personally do agree. I think this is really going to have a big impact on profits subsequently, and of course earnings and all that kind of good stuff. I think this could actually cause NIO to sell off a little bit further, but generally that is not 100% of the picture, because we're not looking at 100% long term if we are taking that view into account. But yeah, another thing worth noting is that JP Morgan, apparently according to FX Street, has announced that they are lowering their NIO price target to $70 from a previous $75 target. So of course that is a decrease of $5. It might not sound too significant, but of course we have seen how these analyst targets have actually had a big impact on stocks like NIO in the past. So of course with NIO being a very hyped stock anyway, this probably will have had a very significant effect to the downside, unfortunately. But yeah guys, whilst a lot of people are panicking about NIO in the next month or so, I want to ask a question, and the question is, should you buy NIO looking at this stock long term? And honestly, yes, the results aren't too great for the moment. People are talking about this in other videos on YouTube, and I do 100% agree with them to an extent, but of course these people aren't 100% factoring in NIO for the long term. I mean, yes, the company's financials aren't the best, obviously deliveries aren't going too well at the moment, but I think there's two things that we need to take into account. One, of course, NIO is not necessarily the largest electric car company. I think that needs to be made aware of. Obviously, we are expecting good things for NIO long term, but short term, they are obviously going to have some teething issues getting off the ground, and I think that is to be expected. Another thing is the whole sector and the company, and who they are selling to. Because right now, electric vehicles, yes, they are advanced. There are many different types of electric cars right now, but the majority of cars that you will see on the street are either petrol or even diesel. I think this is a more significant thing, because obviously right now not a lot of cars on the street are electricity powered, where of course NIO's business model is in the electric car field. On top of that, like FX Street talks about, they also work in the autonomous driving field, which is another field which isn't 100% developed yet. And of course in most countries autonomous driving isn't even legal for whatever legislation. But the thing that I'm trying to get to here is I think that NIO could absolutely be a fantastic buy and hold stock. I think if you are willing to hold this one for the next 10 years, maybe or even less than that, it could have a very huge increase in share price. I think right now it could be a solid buy. Obviously a lot of people were betting on NIO, thinking it's going to be the next Tesla. Personally, in my opinion at least, I don't think it is the next Tesla. I don't think that is a bad thing at all. We don't necessarily need this to be the next Tesla to make big profits with the stock. I think that's another thing that people need to remember. But yeah, NIO, I would definitely give it a week or so to see what happens, because personally I can see the share price plummeting even further down. But you know what, once it starts to level out, or even once it starts to drop a bit further into the hopefully the mid $30 range, we could be asking ourselves, is it the perfect time to buy NIO and of course hold it more long term? term? Well, of course, if I was going to be buying NIO, I would definitely do it through a dollar cost averaging strategy, maybe buying one position at a weekly interval, or maybe even at twice week intervals. And of course, in my opinion, this would allow us to get the best price for the shares that we possibly can, and the most amount of shares at the best price. So personally, if I was looking to buy NIO long term, that is the approach that I would go for. But yeah, guys, I can see this one dropping a bit further in the next week. I don't think that is 100%, of a big issue, because of course, looking at NIO, it is a stock for the long term in my opinion. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say down below, so make sure to drop me a comment. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye until then.